All right, here we go. So, hello everyone. Like I said, I'm Sunir. I'm CEO of AppBind. Thank you so much for having me back at Empower. So last year I gave a talk how partner teams. Well, let's just say I said it was a little bit more salty, but screw over the product teams. So I thought it'd be fun to do the reverse today, and how the product teams, let's say, stress out partners and thereby kill revenue. This is a serious topic, really, but hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun with it. I am very much a partner person. I have built my entire career around this. I started the marketing and partner teams at FreshBooks and Olek Live Chat. I started as well the Cloud Software Association, which is all the SaaS partnership people, 4,000 leaders and executives. And you should absolutely join cloudsoftwareassociation.com. It's free, although you should buy drinks once in a while for everybody. It's kind of how we are. And along the way, I got so incensed by the problem I'm talking about today that I started the company AppBind. And a lot of what I'm talking about is actually informed by the last 2 years of working down this problem and things that I have really come to realize and learn from people. I wish I had more time because I have a million more things to say about this, but I think I'll just get into it because we don't have that much time. And why not? So Empower B2B is a product marketing conference. And there's no more quintessential product than Coca-Cola. It is the world's most famous commercial brand or symbol or icon. It is known by, aside from religious symbols, it is the most known brand. And to be a global brand like this, they are recognized everywhere. They are sold in every country except for North Korea, for obvious reasons, Cuba because of the embargo that never ends, and Scotland. And I assume that's because it can't be deep fried. How do you become a global brand like this with so much power, right? It's not just, they have a great product. They certainly do. They have many great products. They're not just Coca-Cola, right? That's not just their ads, which are also good. It's because if you know your 4Ps placement, they have a total market lock across the planet, an insurmountable lead. This is why Warren Buffett invested in them. You just cannot reach Coca-Cola's ability to sell bottles of sugared water around the world. And in fact, they can get a bottle of sugar water basically anywhere. They have an unsurpassed logistics chain. They can produce and distribute Coca-Cola pretty much anywhere in the world. They have manufacturing and distribution, wholesale, retail, last mile. They have vending machines and vendors and delivery and millions of ways of getting Coca-Cola throughout the world. And this is the partner channel. If you're thinking about product marketing at like a truly vast scale, this is what it means. What Coca-Cola can achieve is a big deal. And when I talk about partners, this is what I'm talking about: getting other people to sell your products for you. In fact, Coca-Cola is so good at this, even inside Africa, where they're having a hard time distributing medicines and vaccines and stuff like this, in some places, Coca-Cola can still ship a bottle of sugared water that they are partnering up, like the Project Last Mile is partnered up with Coca-Cola because their partner chain is just unbelievable. And so, the fact that they can do this, they have this world power, is something to, copy. And I'm telling you, this is a B2B SaaS conference, to be truthful. But there's more to B2B software than SaaS. Most of B2B software is like Coca-Cola, right? It is licensed software. It comes in boxes or, effectively, or downloadable software. And 64% of that was in 2019 was sold through partners, over $300 billion in 2019. But B2B SaaS is not working effectively this way, less than 23%. It's closer to 15 in my estimation. Really, 23 billion or less in 2019 was sold through partners. 14 times smaller market opportunity, and this is a real problem. And like the title of this talk implies that I'm blaming product managers, which maybe I am, but not really. Let's be honest. The problem is not the product teams. It is the way we build products in SaaS. The one thing I want you to take away from this talk is to understand how the way we are building products has really made it difficult to replicate something like Coca-Cola in SaaS software. So what's the problem? We're in a tug of war in SaaS with the customers. One hand, we need a direct relationship with the customers because we have this recurring, ongoing billing relationship. with them. Every month we bill them, the price can change. We need them to pay us. We need to have a direct relationship with the customer. On the other hand, we're hosting all their data, right? So the customers need a direct relationship with us. It's actually the law now, GDPR and its equivalents require the customer to be able to get a hold of you if you have their data. They have to have a direct relationship with you in some way because you're hosting their data. And this is the tension that keeps the customer and the SaaS company in a direct relationship. And as from a product point of view, and this will be relevant later, we've all had to build systems to support this. So we all have billing systems that are really, really complicated for most of us in order to support these recurring variable billing. We all have account management systems so customers can log in and manage their accounts with you, and then your sales and support and whatever can manage their accounts. And of course, the database to store the data. But it's not just the software, the architecture of the software. Our whole organizations are organized around this tug of war because we're the only people who can serve our customer in this direct tug of war model where the customer is directly working with us. We've had to build up teams across the entire customer lifecycle, which has been a topic throughout the day. And I'm sure people have seen the bow tie funnel before, but we all have direct marketing teams to acquire customers and direct sales teams to sell into them and direct success teams to make sure they're growing through the entire life cycle, and finance to track to make sure that the customers are generating as much money as possible, and to track the costs of all the labor involved so we're making money, and legal to make sure that the data is protected because you have data liability. And then these are all a lot of teams. You can have HR and operations, raise money. There's a lot of things going on in order to be a unicorn. You have to be good at all these things. Coca-Cola is not doing like full life cycle management of every customer who buys a bottle of Coca-Cola, but we have to do it for every person who buys one of our products. And as you know, in the way that product marketing works in SaaS is that we are, very needy. We ask the customer for attention all the time. We send them messages all day long, trying to get them to move through this life cycle in order to get the most amount of money for them. But I hate to break it to you, they just ain't that into you. Most customers just can't work with you this way most of the time. And we all know this because we've all hired, a contractor to solve a technical problem. Since the age of the pyramids, I swear, humans have been contracting trusted experts, technical experts to solve difficult problems beyond their capability and capacity. If I have a flooded basement, I'm going to call a plumber. I'm not going to know how to solve that problem. I'm going to hire an expert to solve that for me. And it's a very high risk. I need someone to just take care of it for me who knows what they're doing. And this, if your car breaks down, you're going to hire an auto mechanic. If your marketing funnel is not working, and I don't know anything about marketing, internet marketing, let's just say, because I'm a restaurant or a yoga studio, I'm going to hire an internet marketer. If I don't know anything about accounting, I'm going to hire an accountant, right? And so, but God help this plumber if they send me down to the hardware store to buy my own pipes, valves, gaskets, solder, flux. I mean, what the flux is flux, is what I have to say. I mean, I don't even know. Like, that would never happen. You'd be incensed as a client if your plumber sent you down to the hardware store to buy your own parts. But this is exactly what we're all doing, right? In SaaS, because there's no other option, because we're in this tug of war. We have to have control of the customer, right? We have to do it. So what's a partner supposed to do? They need the parts, but they can't get between you and the customer. They're going to be in a real fight, a real problem. So what do we all ask the partner team to do, or the partners to do? It's like, can you just hand that customer over to us? Don't burden yourself anymore with the customer. We'll take them off your hands. You don't need the customer. I mean, of course they do. It's how they make money. They're serving the customer. And you have all that marketing, sales, and success team willing to give a bear hug to the client and take them off the partner's hands and take away all the value the partner's creating. That is really terrifying for a partner. But I mean, you're very needy of all these teams, right, who need to serve that customer. And so how does a partner create value? That's one problem. The other problem, like I said, if your plumber sent you to a hardware store to buy your own flux, you're going to be like, what? In your head, you may do it because you may be desperate. But in your head, this contractor is unreliable. You're going to fire them, And I've heard this, because I was at FreshBooks. I heard agencies and clients. I've been a contractor myself. The moment these marketing agencies or whomever tell the client to start dealing with the vendors on their behalf, clients get it in their head. I didn't know how to do the marketing, but now my marketing agency, let's say, is telling me I got to learn how to do all this stuff with the vendor. I'm going to have to staff up internally. They fired that agency in their head, and there's just a matter of time until they can staff up and get rid of them. So this is terrifying. Your client engagements get shorter. The risk goes up for the partner. And honestly, if you're asking a partner to take on risk to bring you into a deal to make you money, that's not a really good partnership, right? It's kind of abusive. And they're not going to create opportunity. You're not going to create opportunities for you because you're not creating an opportunity for them. So the alternative is to not get in the love triangle, as I showed you, but for them to get between you and the customer in this tug of war, right? And just make the purchase. But now they're really going to be stuck between you, trying to manage this problem of the data and the billing, right? These are the two problems. From the data, the customers have to own their own data. That is the law now. You cannot get around that. The customers own their own data. So the partners need a way to sign up for accounts that they can manage, right? But the customers own and control. And of course, they need to be able to transfer these subscriptions in the customer's hands, right? The other thing is that they have to pay for these things. They don't want to pay for these things and track all the expenses. That's a lot of overhead. They sell time for a living, and who likes expense tracking? And they definitely don't want to be at the financial risk of having to cover the client subscriptions. That's a lot to ask your partner to do so you can make a sale. And finally, they want the opportunity for themselves. They need to be able to make money. And they don't mean commissions. They mean from the customer. That's where they make the money from. They need an opportunity to create value. So what are you doing for them? Especially if all your professional services teams are about to jump all over the client. So what do you do? Well, you got to end the tug of war somehow. You have to break that rope and allow the partner to get between you and the customer. And remember those account management and billing systems we talked about earlier. This is where it comes down to. This is where the product teams matter. This is what the point of the talk is for the product teams. They have to look at account management and billing and take it apart. So you have to give partners a way to create accounts for customers and log in and manage the accounts and then report on them so they can operate the accounts for customers and be a good professional. But at the end of the day, they also need to be able to transfer the accounts in the customer's control because the customers always own their own subscriptions. And of course, from a billing point of view, they need some way to pay for it. So either they pay for it, they have to bill to the customers, like buying on behalf, or they have to pass through some billing page to the customer so the customer can put in a credit card or whatever and pay for it. And then they need some way to make money. They have to mark it up somehow, either percentage-wise on a retainer or some kind of value-added services. And yes, they want commissions. They don't need commissions. They want them because they're investing time in you, and that's time they're not getting paid with. You're going to ask for a lot of their time, let's be honest, as a partner. You have to provide commissions to pay back the partner's time. That's not where they're making money. It's not the profit. The profit comes from the customer, right? And then finally, whatever taxes are related to this as well, you're going to have to take care of because now there's another party involved. But don't forget, like we said, your whole company is organized around the idea of your bear hug, your two hands around the throat of this customer, trying to shake them for every penny. Right. And so the billing system and account management system is how the entire company organizes around the customer lifecycle. So, when the partnership team asks for changes to billing and account management from engineering and product, yeah, that's a one-time thing. But believe me, all of support and finance are going to, and sales too, are going to scream bloody murder if it's complicated and making their lives worse. And this is really what kills this partner opportunity, despite the fact that a good percentage of customers, well over 30%, would prefer working with a contractor than working with you directly. And this is the problem that we're all creating. So what do you do? Well, you get into it. There's nothing you can do. You have to do something. So let me give you some examples of people who have built partner portals that are quite successful. So FormStack, good friends of mine. So they built a partner portal inside FormStack. It's a form management tool. And what they did is they sell the account to some like a marketing agency or sales consultants or whatever. And then they can create inside their partner portal workspaces for each client. And the forms are organized by client. So the partners build across all their clients. The partner figures out how to build that through to the client however they want. And they can manage the forms for the customers. There's a few problems with this that you encounter, just to enumerate some pitfalls. Number one, of course, the partner has to do all the bookkeeping and expense management. That's no fun. They're in the middle of the money in some way and the expense tracking. Number two, transferring the data and the forms into the client's own account is quite difficult, if it's even possible. It requires, I think, support to intervene, I believe. Could be wrong, but it's quite difficult to do. And then the third thing is FormStack has actually been really great at acquiring and building new products. In recent years, they have document management and signatures and stuff like this. It doesn't work with this partner portal because it's its own little product. And it supported only the billing account management system of the form product. So they're kind of stuck. They can't actually bring their products to market with their agencies through this portal without doing a lot of engineering. And so you're kind of like, they're kind of stuck having to like spend money investing in this partner portal. So that's a little pitfall to remember. This is a product by itself. Another really good example is Zero HQ. So this is a different model. So it's not sub accounts where you're selling to the partner and the partner is then like basically subletting to their clients. Instead, you have Zero, which is accounting software. They have to go through accountants. Your accountant will set you up with accounting software. In this model, it's kind of a hub and spoke model where each client is set up with their own instance of Zero, but the accountant can jump in and out of their accounts. And so they built this really beautiful and powerful partner portal for their accountants. They have an account switcher, that's the thing on the left, where they jump in and out of client accounts, because accountants just go from client to client to client to client all day long. They just want to jump around and get through them all through the day. They can create new accounts for them. They can see an overall report of their client's activity. It's very powerful. They can also, because accountants have different billing models, they can either pay for the account because it's going to be on the retainer, or they can send a billing page to the client and have the client pay for it. The client is going to pay for it directly. But it makes it easier to handle these billing issues. And of course, it's an accounting software, so all the expense tracking is good, right? And so it's really helpful for the accounting channel. One interesting issue that the accountants in the Zero ecosystem have told me is managing accounting is not a winning value add for an accountant anymore. They all want to become CFOs as a service and do more things like payroll and inventory management and financing and ERP. There's lots of things they want to do, but those are other tools they have to buy. Zero HQ can only handle Zero. So they're having a hard time doing something similar for the other kinds of tools in the accounting stack, which is making it difficult for them to grow their value add. So that's an interesting thing. I mean, a plumber doesn't just buy a pipe, right? They have to buy lots of different parts from different manufacturers in order to build a whole system. Everyone's the same way, whether it's digital tools or, you're building a plumbing system or a car. It's all built out of parts to build some bigger system. And you have to think of your partners as building systems, not just selling your product. So just to summarize some pitfalls, don't forget who the partner is. They work for the customer. They don't work for you, certainly. They're not your sales agent. They don't care about you. They care about the customer. They have to. But they're also not the customer. The customer is the customer. They're the ones who own everything. The partner is just working for the customer. And always, 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 I think it's recorded, Darren. That's a good question. Is this recorded? Yes. And if it's not, I will do it again for you, one-on-one. Always, 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 always. It is the law now. You cannot get around this. There's no excuses. Customers own their own accounts. It is just simply how data is working. So one of the most common pitfalls that I see, because it's expedient, it's easy, is you put the partner's commercials, their margins, on the customer's bill. That's totally inappropriate because there are different commercial relationships. So never discount on the customer's bill because they can see the partner's commission. Totally different relationships. You cannot do that. I just don't. Also, it's not a good idea to make the partner sublet accounts because that makes them the software vendor. You can do it. Formstack's doing it, but then they're liable for the data. It's much better for you to be liable for the data and just create separate accounts like Zero is, hub and spoke model. So each account is separate. Also helps, transfer them, helps if there's, honestly, sometimes there's warrants like from the police. They'll want to see one account. They don't want to expose all the accounts. It's good to just keep them things separated from different businesses in general. And it's also easier from your account management point of view. How do you, Jill asks, how do you as a software company set things up so that you keep customers if they switch service providers or partners? That's a good question. You have to be able to support transfer. So you have to be able to let the customer take, because they own the account, take the account into their control. And then, of course, they can invite another partner in as a user. Let me show you an easy way to do this, because this is the big reveal, because I am like this. I'm a marketer. Let me give you the easier way. So what I showed you was not really an easy solution. Building a whole new product on top of your product to support reseller partners. No one can justify this. It could be very expensive, like 6 to 7 figures over the lifetime of this thing. And it doesn't, you're never going to prioritize the partner portal over the core product. When I was at FreshBooks, we actually I had a partner team, like a partner development team, like the engineers. We had to kill the project. It was like a money pit. And this is where I came up with the idea with AppBind. So let me tell you an easier way. So let's go back to the to the tug of war. So what is it? Like I said, it's money and data and account management. So we have the billing system and the account system, which is what the customer uses to log into the account. It gives you a pretty good idea what a subscription is, right? It's the email you use to sign up for the account and the credit card you use to pay for it, right? If the problem is that the partner can't, what are they going to use? They can't use their own email and credit card to pay for a customer subscription because they get stuck in the middle of this tug of war. They need something that they can sign up with that on behalf of the customer, but the customer owns. And this is exactly what I ended up building with AppBind, is a shared virtual email and credit card. So it allows the partners to sign up. Emails are forwarded to them. They manage the account. Emails are forwarded to the client, the customer, so they own the account. And the virtual credit card automatically tracks any expense you have, automatically, and forwards it to the client. So the client pays for it, but it also creates an opportunity for the partner to build a bigger system. And remember, you're just a pipe in an overall plumbing system, right? They need to build a higher value system. So the partners do, so they can manage all the subscriptions in one place. Also, they're also transferable all to the client in one place. And then, of course, the partner can add their value-added billing on top of it. So they have an opportunity to create a business model. And it's a lot easier, way easier. It takes the risk out and automates it for the partner. But one thing you should realize when doing this is at no point have I ever touched that account management system or billing system that you guys built on the product team, which allows us to do more interesting things quickly without disrupting all of support, finance, product management, sales. They just carry on with their existing billing system and you can keep changing it. So it's easier for us to build a drop-in partner portal with a JavaScript tag, honestly, because it's just a password manager, the email, right? And the buy subscription, we issue new credit card. It's very, very easy and quick, but it works for the partner. It gives them the account switcher and everything they need. And we can also do the commissions without having to bother finance, but it gives the partner team the ability to control the commercials with the partners on their own without having to disrupt the billing system. And it's great because the credit cards, we can track every dollar going across them accurately to the penny. And the credit cards know the partner and the customer association. So it's better than referrals, where there's always this debate between direct sales and the partner who owns the customer because it's a love triangle. Here, it's a partner's credit card. So we know the partner's involved because they're the one paying for it, right? But we know it's for a customer and we know when that relationship ends and when to stop paying the commissions. And so we can automate all this without creating any disruption or any of this politics that come from the love triangle. And it makes it really fast to go to market. So, this is what I've been working on, and it is super transformative and really fast and really solves a lot of those problems. So I'll wrap it up here. Coca-Cola isn't the only global brand. Like the second most known brand, of course, is Microsoft. They are absolutely immense. They're bigger than Coca-Cola. They have a global distribution system just as big as Coca-Cola. They are a juggernaut as a result. They are now number one. They beat AWS, for the biggest cloud platform. They're number two behind Salesforce and quickly growing. They're the number one B2B SaaS company, including all the products, actually, right now. They sell 95% of their revenue is sold through partners. Think about how much revenue you're selling through partners right now. Their partners made $1 trillion effectively, collectively with their revenue, which is over $100 billion. And their partners, they're 1.3% of the global economy. Just think about that. 1 out of 100 people on this planet is basically living off Microsoft in some way. It's crazy how big this is. But that's because they know partnerships. And everything that we built here with AppBind, it came from me learning from the Microsoft team when their buy on behalf model, although we did it cheaper and easier than what they did. They can tell you they spend a lot of money. So I have a lot. I could talk your ear off on this, but I'd rather just turn over to questions, or you can reach out to me, senior@appbind.com. But there's a lot to talk about partnerships for sure. This is a pretty short talk. Jill, did I answer your question? How do you deal with the switching? Because you just client owns the accounts. They just take over the account and they can invite another partner in. It's just a login, right? If they always own their own system, it's no problem. It's the same if, I have, I can switch plumbers. If I don't like my plumber, I fire them. I get a new one. Or I don't like my gardener, I can fire my gardener. I still have the same garden. I just get a new gardener. I always own my own garden. Right? And that's an important principle. Darren, if you need me to talk to Strata, that's my email address. You should reach out to me. My pleasure. Come join me, cloudsoftwareassociation.com as well. We drink a lot. It's important. When you work in partnerships and you get frustrated by this, you got to hang out with people who understand you. We're actually meeting up in person in November in San Francisco. Can you believe that? It's happening. We're having our conference November 9th, 10th. So come join us there too. sasconnect.org. All right. I will, I guess I keep recording. I don't really know, but I'll hang out here if there's any more questions. Here's an interesting slide too. I have one interesting slide at the end. Where is it? This is the problem with discounting Microsoft. See that little inflection point? They're right behind Salesforce on the CRM front, but their distribution channel is ridiculous. I just like cannot discount Microsoft. When you have distribution, you have everything. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right, bye everyone.